Carmelo Anthony found guilty of murder over the Texas track meet stabbing. A teen has been found guilty of murder over the fatal stabbing of another teen at a high school track meet last year. Carmelo Anthony, 19, was indicted on first-degree murder in the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a track meet in Frisco, Texas in April 2025. Prosecutors called the stabbing senseless and plain and simple murder, while the defense argued that Anthony acted in self-defense. The murder charge carries a sentence of up to life in prison. Ahead of closing arguments on Tuesday, the judge decided that jurors could also consider manslaughter, which carries a sentence of up to 20 years in prison, according to ABC Dallas affiliate WFAA, which was in the courtroom for the trial. The jury began deliberating midday Tuesday before reaching a verdict in 3 hours. According to a court spokesperson, Anthony could be seen crying when he returned to the court for his sentencing, which will be determined by the jurors, the station reported. Anthony's mother was the only person to take the stand during the punishment phase, asking the jurors to show him mercy as he is sorry for what he did. The judge said that Anthony waived his right to testify during the punishment phase, according to the station. The deadly stabbing occurred at Frisco Independent School District Stadium on April 2nd, 2025, during a track and field competition involving multiple schools in the district. Police said Metcalf, an 11th grader in Frisco Memorial High School, was stabbed during an altercation under his school's tent in the stadium bleachers. Witnesses said the two got into an argument over Anthony, a then 17-year-old student at Frisco Centennial High School, being under Metcalf's school tent during the rainy track meet. Jurors heard testimony over 4 days. Anthony did not take the stand in his own defense. Judge John Roach imposed a gag order in the case, restricting what those involved can say, and barred any electronics from the courtroom during the trial due to the attention the case has garnered. Collin Country First Assistant District Attorney Bill Wiersky told jurors that the stabbing was not self-defense but unjustified murder. In his closing argument on Tuesday, Wiersky claimed that Anthony provoked Metcalf, questioned why the defendant didn't walk away, and then called the stabbing disproportionate. You don't get to meet a shove with a stab, especially if you provoke a shove, Wiersky told jurors, according to WFAA. Defense attorney Mike Howard told jurors that Anthony had gone to the memorial tent to get out of the rain when Metcalf confronted him and told him to leave. Howard said Anthony acted in fear and chaos after Metcalf pushed him and stabbed the other teen in self-defense. During his closing argument on Tuesday, Howard said Metcalf had no legal right to use force on Anthony. In response to the contentions that Anthony could have just left, the defense attorney said, "I'm sure he wishes he did." Multiple students who were at the track meet that day testified that they saw Metcalf push Anthony, who was seated on the bleacher, with some describing it as a two-handed push, like a lineman move, while others said it was a one-handed small shove. One witness testified that Anthony was asked to leave the tent about 15 times, according to WFAA. Some recalled Anthony saying, "Touch me and see what happens," during the altercation, which witnesses said lasted about 4 to 6 minutes. Another witness quoted Metcalf as telling Anthony, "I'm not going to fight you." Surveillance footage from the track meet played in court did not show the stabbing, and some of the witnesses were asked to demonstrate the incident. After the stabbing, witnesses said Anthony jogged away from the tent, and a coach who spoke to him on the track testified that he said, "He put his hands on me, I stabbed him." A pocket knife used in the stabbing was found on the bleachers, police said. Collin County Medical Examiner Dr. Elizabeth Ventura testified that Metcalf was stabbed on the left side of his chest, and the knife perforated his right ventricle, according to WFAA. Several people spoke during the trial of the efforts to save Metcalf. A football coach who was helping the track meet testified that he put pressure on the stab wound, and Memorial's athletic trainer said she did CPR until paramedics arrived. Everybody was praying, Memorial High School head track coach Robert Starr said in an emotional testimony. "I just knew Austin was gone." Metcalf was transported to an area hospital where he was ultimately pronounced dead. Frisco ISD reacted to the verdict, saying in a statement, "We respect the judicial process and will continue to support our students with compassion and care. We know this trial has brought strong emotions and deep grief, and we ask our community to continue supporting each other with respect, sensitivity, and understanding." Yeah. I mean, it's pretty wild to hit it with a straight up murder rather than manslaughter, which again still carries an immensely high penalty. But I mean, it's the standard, like the escalation still came from the party that was defending itself in this circumstance, and you can't lethally defend yourself with a knife, according to this court proceeding, and it's it's an it's an incredibly sad situation. But first degree would imply, I don't know how it works in this state. I don't know if this means like premeditation, which is ridiculous. But I guess all white jury. Um, Texas is the state. That's part of the reason. Am I missing something? Because it sounds like they got into a high school fight and he stabbed the dude, killing him. Why would this become such a big case? Part of the reason why it became a big case and received a lot of national attention is because people were like, initially, Carmelo Anthony's test of Carmelo Anthony told people on the scene immediately that he was acting in self-defense. And there was at least some evidence, as you've seen from eyewitness testimony, firsthand accounts that were there, that there was at least like an instigation coming from the victim. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Just because somebody pushed you, shoved you, or was behaving this way, it doesn't mean that you can like take out a gun and shoot them, or take out your knife and stab them in the chest and kill them. So there was obviously a crime that took place. But I think that the consideration here is the severity of the penalties. But the reason why it turned into a big issue is because immediately every like right wing white nationalist account was like, oh, we have to kill Carmelo Anthony immediately. This was a racialized hate crime. It was a racialized anti-white hate crime, and white people, when they're victims, still get punished. Blah blah blah. All the stuff they postured. They leaned into this case to create this false dynamic, as though like white people get punished unjustifiably in the eyes of both the media and also in a court of law, which obviously is not. I mean, there's no evidence to bear that out. I believe the defendant saying touch me and see what happens was solidify the first degree charge. First degree doesn't always mean long and well thought out. What about stand your ground laws? Is that not a defense? I don't think. I mean, that's situational, and also usually stand your ground is if you're white and standing your ground, and stand your ground only works against black people more often than not. Black and brown people. There are rare instances where stand your ground will protect um, a black person. Rarely, but it happens. But having said that, dude, I understand why this would not be considered a situation where stand your ground would apply. I mean, it's a severe escalation, especially considering that this wasn't in the process of like a brutal beatdown or something, and he just like had a knife in his pocket and he pulled it out. Like there were numerous outs for de-escalation in this back and forth, it seems, or at least that's what the prosecutor showed. And that's the reason why the case ended up being the way it is. Yeah. He was at a track meet. Yeah, it's a unbelievably tragic situation. I mean, I feel terrible. I mean, this is Hasan, I love you, but your legal takes are dog shit. Please stay out of this stuff. You're right. I should never talk about. I should leave Asmongold to do the coverage. He should be the only responsible party that does coverage on this platform. Certainly, he has a far better grasp over this kind of stuff. Or maybe you just don't agree with me, and that's why you're pissed off. First degree in Texas doesn't have a premeditation clause. It only requires knowing and willing conduct. Yeah, stand your ground is about not having duty to retreat when in danger. He pulled a knife after a fucking shove. Like, if the eyewitness, because this happened in front of a lot of people, okay? If all of the other testimony from the individuals that were on scene showed that Carmelo Anthony's life was in imminent danger, then I don't think that I don't think it would go the way that you think it would. Like, it's not like he was getting like pummeled, or he was like getting punched or brutalized, and in that moment he like in a panic moment, in an effort to defend himself, he pulled out his knife from his pocket or something and then stabbed him. Even then, they would probably try to fucking throw the book at him because he's a black teenager killing a white teenager. But it would be a much more defensible situation, I think. Whereas, if there were numerous outs in that circumstance, it's unjustifiable regardless. Like, Austin Metcalf obviously shouldn't be going up to this guy and being like, "Get the fuck out of my tent" and whatnot. But like, obviously, he doesn't deserve to be killed. It's fucking insane. That's an insane thing. I'm not going to stand by that. I'm never going to. If you were expecting me to say some shit like that, you're out of your mind. I'm sorry. Okay? What is this? So in Texas, there's only capital murder, death or life sentence without no parole mandatory, and murder, 5 to 99 years max. There's no first and second degree, but there is manslaughter. In another state, this would probably be second degree, but that doesn't exist in Texas. Yeah. Like, his defense could not establish that he was under imminent threat to his safety, and that it was obviously seen as a severe escalation from the party that was being bullied. Now, unless there's like additional evidence that was hidden in the trial or something, and they did a very good job of like hiding the evidence, I understand why he would be. I understand why the case would go this way. I still think it's I do think that there are plenty of instances of leniency, political leniency, right? Kyle Rittenhouse and the like. Many circumstances in the American criminal justice system where, if there was a role reversal, this would not be as controversial. I guess it would not. There would absolutely be a much more lenient sentence if Austin Metcalf was sitting in a tent and Carmelo Anthony walked up to him and shoved him, and then Austin Metcalf pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the heart and killed him. I think Austin Metcalf would probably walk free, or at the very least would get a much lighter sentence. That is the truth. Having said that, however, that would not be justice either, right? That would not be justice. Like, so my argument isn't necessarily that that there should be leniency in both circumstances, or well, leniency isn't like they should be able to walk free in both circumstances. Like, it's understandable that a egregious crime was committed, and therefore it's understandable for there to be some kind of punishment. We just saw it happen and the boy ran. You're wrong. What do you mean? Yeah, maybe if he ran around the track, then let him shoot him in the back, then it would be justified, right? Wait, what? What are you talking about? Why would I say yes to that? Run a mile, shot in the back again, man go free. Okay, chatter. I understand that you're trying to say something that I already accounted for and mentioned, which is that in a lot of other circumstances, in other circumstances, if there was a role reversal, I suspect the white person probably would have walked free. I don't think that's justice. I never said that that would be appropriate. I've already explained that that is usually the case, which is part of the reason why a lot of people are impassioned about this case as well. They're not confusing cases, chatters. They're saying that there was an instance where someone who ran away got shot in the back and killed, and the person who shot them walked away free. But that's not this situation. That's a totally separate situation. And that is more so about the racialized elements within the criminal justice system, which I already mentioned. Okay? So, yes, I agree with you. But if you're asking about this particular case, in this particular case, they hit him with a max penalty when there could have been more leniency, certainly. And the reason why they hit him with a max penalty is because he was a black teenager who stabbed and killed a white teenager. That's 100% my assessment. Having said that, there should have been some penalties from the facts that were revealed about the case. I'm so sick of you, Hasan. You never talk about anything. You just sit and argue with your chat. It's true. It's not separate if you are black. No. 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 You're not understanding the point I'm making. I'm saying that, of course, being black is a relevant factor. Being black is a relevant factor in what would have taken place if the role reversal took place. If the role reversal was that a white teenager stabbed a black teenager and killed him. Fuck you mean no? Yes, the fuck it is. No, I'm not saying no, being black makes this not a separate case. I'm saying that systemic analysis is absolutely apt, which I offered. Okay, I this is going to be an instance where people are either intentionally misunderstanding what I'm saying and act as though I'm not accounting for racialized sentencing disparity, which exists in the criminal justice system, and I talk about it all the time. And I just did in this circumstance as well. I wasn't saying that what your statement is, your statement itself is not incorrect. Okay. The deployment in this situation against me, as though I am at odds with what you're saying, is incorrect. Chad is doing the thing where they agree with my overall analysis, but come at it as though they're in disagreement. There is no disagreement. And I can't tell if people just have some kind of I mean, tensions are high. So I guess that's probably part of the reason.